And look, another card that you probably won't be able to buy. Let's do this.
Are you a champion in the making?
Yeah, I mean, my mum always calls me a little champ, so...
Then you need the new Corsair Champion Series K70 10 keyless keyboard to heighten your gameplay and really kick the competition's arse.
So I'll be an even better gamer if I get one?
Yes, thanks to the 8000 Hz hyperpolling, a durable aluminium frame and a tournament mode switch that disables the macros and lighting for those intense gaming sessions. You'll be tearing up the battlefield in no time.
Wow, I can't wait to show everyone my sick moves. Yeah!
No, stop that now, and click the link in the description below. Seriously, stop dancing.
I feel like the Ti range of cards have been rumoured almost as long as the 30 series has even been out in general. It's like people knew it was coming before even Nvidia did. I mean, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but what I'm trying to get at is that it's all been on the cards for quite some time, with an original launch date of January, according to the rumours, but instead here we are in June. I mean, firstly, where did the time go? Secondly, what's the point of the 3080 Ti? I mean, surely the 3080 is good enough. Well, according to Nvidia, games like Cyberpunk 2077 and Watch Dogs Legions have elevated realism and GPU demands. Basically, they're saying that these games need a Ti in their lives. The funny thing is, while Cyberpunk was a great game, and I played it quite a lot myself when it first came out, I don't know anyone playing it anymore. Another funny thing is that when we get sent a new card, and while Nvidia didn't send us a Founders Edition, they claim it's because they only have a small pool of cards, but we kind of think it's because they don't like us. Either way, we still get access to the reviewer's guide and relevant corporate bump to go with a launch product. And within that, the 3080 Ti is constantly compared to the 2080 Ti, which I kind of get, this is the next evolutionary step, but not once is it even compared to the RTX 3080. I mean, that's kind of odd, isn't it? It's, at the time of filming, still the flagship on the market, or more importantly, not on the market, because you can't buy it, and when you can, it's just stupidly overpriced. So what I'm trying to get at is that, yes, we need to look at comparing the newfangled 3080 Ti against the 2080 Ti because of each card and kind of how it's aligned in the market, but also to the 3080 to see, is that extra price worth the extra performance if you're looking at buying a 30 series card in general? Thrown in for good measure, we have to look at the 1080 Ti because a lot of people typically skip a generation and kind of a few cards in between. So let's talk about specs. I mean, what are we even dealing with? Well, believe it or not, it's faster than a 2080 Ti and faster than a 3080. Kind of. You may remember when the 3060 Ti came out, it confused the hell out of people as it had less memory than the non-Ti but had a faster GPU clock. But the memory clock was slower, but was on a faster memory interface. I mean, in all honesty, that confused the hell out of us reviewers, let alone you guys, the consumer. And that's kind of exactly what we have again. The 3080 Ti has 12 gig compared to 10 gig on the non-Ti. It's on a 384-bit bus instead of 320. The GPU clock is slower at 1365 MHz compared to 1440 on the normal 3080. So how do you as a consumer decipher all this? Well, the days of kind of GPU boost speeds and memory speeds are kind of long gone, and instead it's the bigger picture of shaders, texture mapping units, render output units, and together these are what make up the bigger picture. So the figures I quoted, they're all from the Founders Edition. But what about what we actually have here? Well, you may remember that when the 30 series launched, shortly after, MSI brought their flagship Surprim X lineup out, taking on the likes of the Strix cards from Asus and the Aorus Extremes from Gigabyte with a cool, quiet monster that is frankly beastly and, well, bloody huge. But for a good reason. So how does it differ to the Founders Edition 3080 Ti in terms of specs? Well, the memory speed has remained unchanged at 1188. While the boost speed has seen a sizable jump from 1665 MHz up to 1830 on the Surprim X. Now, I don't want to go over this card too much because we've done a review on the 3080 Surprim X and the 3090 Surprim X, so you know kind of what the cooler's about, what MSI have done with the product. What we want to know though is how this performs and how it compares against the cards that I've already mentioned. So let's run them glorious benchmarks. Okay, so let's get a few little things out the way first. You'll likely see a lot of reviews going live today where they compare a Founders 3080 Ti to a Founders 3080 and a Founders 3090. So the playing field, I guess, is quite level. Now, we don't have Founders, so we have to work with what we have, and that's why, as many others will show, kind of variances with how close the Ti is between the 3080 and the 3090. Now, the MSI Surprim X is a lightning fast card with a boost speed well above your ordinary cards, like a Founders. Now, while we compared to a 3080 and a 3090 gaming OC, in terms of speeds, it's actually ahead of where a 3080 Ti gaming OC would be, which bridges the gap kind of closer to the 3090. That's also reflected in the price, and while MSI haven't actually sent us a price as such for this card, you can expect it to be well above the $1,199 cards that, are starting from. I mean, it's no longer an MSRP anymore. And we have a video that we did publish yesterday that kind of explains through all of that. So definitely go and check that out. So let's talk about the benchmarks. So synthetics saw the 3080 Ti way ahead of the 3080 and even storming past the 3090 in, well, pretty much everything. The fact that the 3080 Ti comes with a faster boost speed is what allows it to hold that sustained level well above our 3090 for a longer period of time. Yes, the 3090 has double the amount of memory, but when it comes to gaming up to 4K, 12 gigs seems to be the ticket here, as even the most intensive titles kind of maxed out use around 10 gig or so. This just kind of further instills that the 3090 should have never been branded as a gaming card. It really is a productivity card, and many people do class it as kind of Titan level performance. When it comes to beyond 4K, which admittedly is still very niche, that's where the extra memory would come into play. And titles are only going to get, I guess, more demanding as time goes on. And while the core and the boost speed take care of, let's say, most of that, memory is still a very big factor. So I wouldn't write the 3090 off completely just yet. Of course, one thing that we did want to look at was mining performance. Now, based on sort of what we know about the 3080 and the 3090, they get anywhere between 90 megahash to about 105 megahash, depending on the model that you go for. This actually came in quite a bit lower, more towards sort of 50 megahash. So yes, Nvidia have definitely restricted the mining performance on the 3080 Ti. When it comes to pure gaming performance, the Ti is a beast. It's as simple as that. It sits ahead of the more expensive 3090, albeit only by a small fraction. And again, I'm sure comparing an FE to an FE or whatnot would garner even closer results. But unless you need the extra memory that the 3090 gives you, well, it could just be wasted money. Obviously, the 3080 Ti comes within the RTX family, so it'd be stupid for us to ignore some of the features that put Nvidia ahead of the competition. The 3080 Ti again showed kind of who's boss when it came to ray tracing performance, sitting just ahead of the 3080 and the 3090 in most of our tests. Again, the extra boost speed allowing the FPS to not dip as low as we'd expect with ray tracing enabled. It really kind of has an effect here, and with all Nvidia RTX cards, you have to feel that, well, it's only going to get kind of more mature and it's going to get better with time. Now, when it comes to DLSS, we did see similar findings with the 3080 Ti outperforming the 3080 and sitting either with or ahead of the 3090. Running titles with both DLSS and ray tracing again saw great results with comfortable frame rates at 4K with solid and fluid figures. It is worth noting that compared to the older generation 2080 Ti and 1080 Ti, we saw across the board huge gains from the successor, and with a similar price to the 2080 Ti at time of launch, it does go to show that kind of we have a bit of a beast in our hands here. We also get everything you'd expect from the latest Nvidia architecture, making it perfect for streamers, competitive gamers, content creators, and everyone in between, thanks to reflex, broadcast, shadow play, and much more. So I guess there is one other question that we have to answer, right? What about AMD? Obviously, we had to throw in a card from Team Red to show how, I guess, things compare, and we know Nvidia is ahead. They were with the 3090, so this has just made a slightly better kind of proposition to buy Nvidia over AMD, with the prices being that little bit closer to each other now. At this point though, so much of buying a GPU comes down to what price you can pay, and more importantly, what's available at the time. It is worth noting as well that only 2 days ago, AMD announced their Fidelity FX Super Resolution technology to battle Nvidia's DLSS, with it arriving apparently later this month. So that's definitely something that may kind of, I guess, level the playing field for Team Red just a little bit, and something we'd actually be keen to revisit in a comparison to the 3080 Ti and some of the rest of the stack from Nvidia. So should you get one? I mean, yes, if you want the very best and don't require the 24 gig of VRAM that the 3090 has, then yes, this is the new flagship. If you're into, I guess, creation and those aspects though, then the 3090 really is in a league of its own, giving similar performance to the Ti, but with much more to give on the, let's call it, professional side of things. The only issue you're going to have is the same issue people have been having since the inception of the 30 series. They just aren't around to buy, and when they aren't at the prices you're expecting. And for that, I really have no answer for you. Either wait and continue to piss and moan about it, or buy it and continue to piss and moan about how much you paid. It's kind of a lose-lose situation from that point of view, but at least you'd have the card that you want, and you'll be enjoying those glorious frame rates in no time at all. So yeah, in other news though, I'm not sure how it is where you are, but at the time of filming this, it's 28 degrees, and I hear that the outside world is one of the best games on the market. Just make sure you have the Sunshine DLC installed. It's way more fun and realistic, and is available to buy right now. Either way, whatever you do, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know exactly what to do, and let me know in the comments section. What card are you eyeing up at the moment? And more importantly, what model? And you know, Surprim X, it's at the top, it's up there with Strix. Or are you looking for something closer to the starting from price? Because it's not an MSRP price anymore. Either way, let me know in the comments section. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know exactly what to do, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.